This is episode 86 of Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. I'm Ted. He is Wacey, and we are here with our, I guess, it's 86 shows. What is that?
Man, we're hammering through these.
What does that break down to, like per week? So we're on.
It's one every 2 weeks, doesn't it?
We're in season 4 though, like 26 weeks. So 26, 52, 52 plus 26. What does that mean?
Man, you lost me.
78. So 78 was 3 years in, and we're in season 4. I think episode.
That makes me think of the meme with like Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover when he's trying to figure out how to count cards, like all like the formulas and stuff for counting up. That's what that reminds me of.
That's what just happened with you.
Yeah.
The same kind of thing.
I thought of a good question as you're leading into this. What to you? What is the most quotable movie you've watched? Like, I guess a timeless movie that like just has like the most amount of just like banger quotes that people still quote to this day.
Oh, what I think that there are a few movies that
but for you, not for like just like what is to you? What is your like most?
Well, I think it's 2. I think it's Talladega Nights and Step Brothers, both Will Ferrell movies. My point was that I think Will Ferrell has created some of these most quotable pieces,
timeless movies. I was thinking about Talladega Nights today too. That's a really good movie. It
was on the TV the other night when we were in Canada. Yeah. It was on the damn on the TV. I was like, oh, we got to watch this. And then there was another good one that was on.
Blades of Glory is really quotable too.
Another Will Ferrell movie.
It's so funny. My top quotable movie though, by far, like not even close, is Dumb and Dumber. Like that nothing even competes with Dumb and Dumber.
Okay, what are they? What are the biggest ones off that?
Like, I thought the Rocky Mountains would be a little more rocky.
That John Denver is full of shit.
You've had an extra pair of gloves this whole time.
Okay, but which ones do you?
We have no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Oh, dear. Which ones do you use the most though? That's probably those are probably.
I would say for me. Okay, so I do use the Rocky Mountains to be a little more rocky one all the time, just because we're living where we live. It's a tee up.
Yeah.
What's another one from there? The IOUs are as good as money. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Like, they're as good as money. I always say that all the time. That's a good one.
Oh man.
Another really good quotable movie is what the fuck? I just lost what it was.
Well,
another Will Ferrell movie. Another Will Ferrell movie was like super quotable. What is it? I'll think of it anyways.
The Catalina wine.
Anchorman. Sorry, Anchorman's like an unbelievably quotable movie.
Yeah,
like,
Will Ferrell, man.
Yeah, he's really good in that one, and even the other guys, dude. Like, that's that's my like underrated like Will Ferrell movie. And I'm probably like exaggerating that it's underrated, but I think it flies under the radar of like really good Will Ferrell movies because him and Mark Wahlberg are so good in that movie.
Yeah,
like the part where they blow up the mini mall accounting firm or whatever.
Oh, I was gonna say the gangbang in the car.
Or it's like when the death bar exploded and nothing happened. That was total bullshit.
What about the
MRI?
What about the car thing though? What is the story there? I forget about.
Dirty Mike and the Boys.
When it's Dirty Mike and the Boys.
Yeah. They left the gangbang in the car. Left a note. My favorite scene from that whole movie, like this is no competition at all, is when he's at the ballet studio, and Mark Wahlberg shows up and he's like, "What are you doing in the strip club shaking it for dollar bills?" And she's like, "These poles are horizontal, Terry." And then he just like busts out like some ballet moves like nobody. And then he's like, "Yeah, I just learned how to do that to make fun of the ferry down the street." When he's like obviously just like covering up for that, he was that nerd guy growing up and learned ballet because his parents made it. And then all of a sudden Will Ferrell shows up. And he's like, "He really loves you, Francine." And he does not approve of your behavior. I think we all learned something today. Ballet, a ballet of love.
Oh man,
it's so good. And also underrated character is Michael Keaton as the chief. He is like so good in that part because his day job's working at Bed Bath and Beyond, and just like all the stuff. He keeps quoting TLC. He has no clue that he's quoting TLC.
Oh man!
And another. Oh fuck this! I'm gonna go on a rant on that. Another really good part from that movie is when at the funeral for like the two guys who jumped into the bushes, like The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, when they get into that fight, but they're whispering the whole time. And Michael Keaton walks up. He's like, "2 of our best officers are dead, and you guys are fighting in here." It's so stupid because it is whispered.
Man,
that little stuff like that just makes. Or fuck when they go to like his ex-girlfriend and it's fucking the weird ass. "It's Christineth. You come into my house, you get my wife's name right." And he like walks over like Arnold Palmy alert. That reminds me a lot of one of our friends that we know really well. That guy. And he's like sitting there and he's wearing his turtleneck. He's like, you may think just by looking at me, I'm a pretty hairy guy, but from here down, bear.
I don't know who our friend would be right now. I don't know who this is.
I'll let you sit on that for a while. When it comes to you, yeah, we'll take this offline. That's one of the business terms that's being used. They're being thrown around pretty loosely right now, but anyways, it's funny. It's funny how much of those movies are all Will Ferrell movies, hey?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that was my point, is that I had the first two that came to mind were Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. And then
do you think that's a generational thing though? Like we are like the Will Ferrell generation.
Well, because the other one was old school with "We're Going Streaking," like that's
and that was like his first like big movie, and that would be like the kind of like our first introduction into like that type of comedy / movie.
Although
Vince Vaughn's like one of my favorite actors as well.
But I don't remember I don't remember many of his lines though. And then you go to like,
it wouldn't be quotable. Just like he's really funny in his roles though. Like really like, like does like the same role across a lot of movies, but he's really good at it.
Because I was gonna say like Wedding Crashers too, but I don't remember many lines from that show. And then
the only ones the lines you remember are the ones from Will Ferrell, like "Ma, the meatloaf" and all that kind of stuff.
Again,
like. He's the guy. He's the guy who does the heavy lifting there.
And then there's oh shit, I'm forgetting which way I want to go down there now. But anyways, I don't know where I was trying to go. But there's a lot of Will Ferrell stuff. That was my point. Will Ferrell. So good question, Wacey. Good question. That's fine. I guess mine would have to be probably. I don't know. I don't know if it's a movie or if it's a character, and it'd have to be Will Ferrell just because there's so many. Because the Talladega Nights, if you're not first, you're last. Shake and Bake, the slingshot move. What else is there?
Oh, I thought those really thin pancakes. I love those things.
What'd you say?
I thought those really thin pancakes. I love those things.
Oh yeah, when he's talking to Sacha Baron
Just say you love really thin pancakes.
You sound like a dog with peanut butter on it.
Oh man, it's so good. That's
and then there's what else is there?
Even the little kids are funny. Or like when he's doing the prayer for, I was like, "Dear Lord, baby Jesus."
Dear Lord, baby Jesus.
5 pounds, 8 ounces, and a little tuxedo T-shirt. Or I love the part.
If my kids were gonna be pussies, I knew Dr. Quinn, a medicine woman, not Walker and Texas Ranger.
Or when the part when he's like convinced that he's paralyzed, he's playing wheelchair basketball. He's just fucking kicking guys. That's so funny, man.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Dude,
I love.
I'm on fire. Help me, Tom Cruise.
I hope you both have sons. Beautiful, articulate, athletic sons.
And then he stabs himself.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Stabs himself with the fucking knife into his
because he thinks he's paralyzed. He's convinced. Oh man, that's such good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
What else? It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
That movie's so good. Hey Derek, you know what helps with shoulder pain? You lick my butthole. That's like one of the best like quotes ever, man. It's so good.
Oh fuck! And then you could go to TV if you want to get into some more lines. Then you could say The Office because
Office. Yeah, everybody people quote The Office like constantly. Yeah, that's a great show. I like that show and How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if you've ever got into that one.
Not much.
Yeah, it's a good show, and there's also like quotable stuff from that. And for me though, I like really associate with characters. Like I really like to like characters, and like when it comes to TV and movies that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I like attached to like someone I like. Same with like for Game of Thrones, for instance, like Jon Snow is like my guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I like seeing what happens with him and what he does. I don't really care about the rest of the shit. And I get really emotional when stuff comes to an end. It sucks. Like when The Office was over, when How I Met Your Mother was over, like when I watched the last Avengers movie, and even like the last like Game of Thrones, just like it sucks because it's like it's over. And I was like,
the Avengers is not over, isn't it? Like Endgame.
Yeah, the Avengers, like the OG Avengers, is done.
But it's over for Captain America,
Black Widow,
and then
Iron Man. all those people, like it's over.
Iron Man?
Yeah, Iron Man's dead.
Robert Downey Jr. He's done.
He's dead. Like Thor's still around, and like the Hulk, I think, is still going to be around as well, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. But like the OG like Avengers from the beginning, like that whole story is over. Like it's done, which is super sad, just because it's crazy. Because like I remember just watching those as a kid and like growing up with it and.
End of an era.
And it's over. And same with Game of Thrones. I was super sad when that was over because I was super invested in that show. And same with The Office and How I Met Your Mother. The ending. A lot of people like give a lot of flack to the ending of How I Met Your Mother, but I enjoyed it and it was like gut wrenching.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that. I'm not that.
I would recommend, man, if you get a chance to check it. How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah,
it's a good show. Yeah.
I just haven't been that into shows lately, though. Honestly, man, it's been the middle of a pandemic and we had all the time in the world, and I still haven't Still haven't watched so many shows. It's pretty bad.
Or even but even Star Wars in the sense too, right? Like
I watched that. It was good.
But even like, that. And like the last Star Wars movie, like the one, like the most recent one, like that's sad because I think like the Skywalker era of Star Wars is over. It's done.
I forget what happened. Don't remember.
That's fine. You have to watch it again sometime. But anyways, like for anybody who's like invested in that kind of stuff and like growing up with it and like watching it, like it's crazy.
To that, I say it's just a show, Wacey. It's all entertainment.
It's whatever. You can still, but it's like that's the point of it though. It's the same as like reading a good book though, too, right? Like you attach to the character, you attach to the characters and like get to like somebody, and then when it gets to the point when it's over, like it's sad, like.
Yeah, I'll give you that because I read the latest book from our last show's guest, CJ Box, and his latest book, Dark Sky, came out on Tuesday this week, and I read it within about 12 hours or something. I think I
not a big deal.
Read a bit of it the night before I went to bed, and then the next morning I had it done by mid-afternoon kind of thing, just slam through it. And I enjoy reading those books, and then they're over and I'm sad that way. But, if any of the characters were to go missing in those books, I would be, it'd be tough to handle. So I get what you're saying. I take it back.
It's different. It's different like mediums of like consuming it, but it's like similar in the sense of where like if you buy into something, it's sad when it's over,
Fair. Yeah. I'll give you that.
It may just be a TV show or a movie, but some people that means a lot to them.
It means something to me. Okay, it does. I get it.
Yeah. Don't give me shit.
That's fair. I gotta rescind my comments. Take it back. But our guest today, Cord McCoy, coming up after the break here. Thanks for listening. This is Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. I'm Teddy's Wacey. Thanks for tuning in and listening to the show this week. Thanks for the downloads. Appreciate it. We'll catch up after this. A 6-time PBR World Finals qualifier and former 3-event Cowboy, who also qualified for the Wrangler NFR in 2005. 3 times he would tour the globe on the amazing race with his brother Jet, finishing second on the 16th season. He's a proud father and stock contractor, sporting some of the top bulls in the PBR. Coming to us from Lane, Oklahoma, it's Cord McCoy. And his daughter
to the show.
Yeah, man. What an honor, huh?
Hey, thanks for the time, Cord. We talked a week or two ago probably about this and got it lined up pretty fast. So I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us. This has been a long time coming.
I used to tell people that I used to work 8 seconds a day, and I don't even work that long anymore. So I get free time. That was always a joke when people would always, you have time to sign an autograph? Like that was always our one-liner joke was like, seriously, I work 8 seconds. I've got some free time to do some
I like that. That's awesome.
What are you working on right now then, Cord? Tell us about the stock contracting business meeting you're at today.
Yeah. So today I went and met with a committee down the road. So I guess the big news, we've never even announced it, but we are buying a PRCA rodeo card. So we're going to start producing PRCA rodeos. McCoy Rodeo would be the company that we're starting. So it's pretty neat stuff, to kind of get into the buck and horse business as well. And, we do have a lot of bulls stacked around here that need more jobs. But we've kind of got into producing a lot of rodeos and stuff as well. Probably the biggest one that we did, an event we did called Western Days. It was a facility. We had actually 4 arenas going at the same time. We had ropings, junior rodeos, pro rodeos, trail rides, everything going on this whole Western Day. It was an event that was a whole week long. So we've produced several events, but now we're kind of getting into the producing PRCA rodeos across, Oklahoma, North Texas, and hopefully, grow from there.
What's the PRCA getting your card like on the stock contractor side? Is that quite a process getting your card, or is it pretty easy to make happen? I know up here it's a big job.
It's definitely not easy. It seems like for the last 2 years we have shopped around on that card. Tell me when you can see me again here. Yeah, so we have shopped around on that card to try to buy somebody's card that is trying to get out of the business. Mm-hmm. And as much as you would think that there would be an opportunity or turnover now, we just couldn't find one work for us. So we almost had to go into a different avenue and to buy a new PRCA card, which kind of puts you under the microscope of, it costs a lot of money. And not only that, you have to produce so many rodeos of the first 3 years. They have to be new PRCA rodeos, which, hadn't had one for a long time. And you have to have, 50 head of bucking horses, 25 head of bucking bulls, and do a lot of things. And like I said, kind of be under the microscope of the PRCA looking at what you're doing. I mean, they even send people to your ranch to view your stock to make sure that you're a PRCA contractor.
Oh, wow. So given the COVID landscape, how hard has it been to produce these new rodeos or find new places to have rodeos? Has that been a challenge or?
In Oklahoma, I think it's opened up a lot of opportunities, because, the PRCA, I don't know, 500 and something rodeos before it's looking pretty easy to get more contestants. I mean, there's not as much competition. I know that's probably not the best way to look at it, but I think there is some opportunity knocking for, there's a lot of cowboys, pickup man, rodeo clowns. There's a lot of people looking for jobs, and to be able to fill that void, to be able to come in and produce some rodeos. I think there's some opportunity in it as well. And I think where you might have had to add 20, 30,000 to events before, that you can get a lot better guys at a you hate to say bargain rate, but at smaller rodeos that couldn't get the top guys before. I think you've got some opportunity here this year, maybe next year, and maybe not long term, but for now, I think you can get a lot more guys because there's not as many options to go to right now. I don't even know if Canada's even producing rodeos right now.
Nothing happening up here. So then did you have to start a born to buck program, for lack of a better term, with your horses, or did you acquire a bunch of bucking horses that way, or how'd that go?
Yeah, we kind of reached out and just partnered with a bucking horse guy. So, as much as I would like to, start from scratch and work my way up, we know it's taken us 25 years to get to where we're at in our bucking bull business. I would think the horses would be the same concept, and I think we can skip a lot of the decades of what doesn't work and go ahead and get in with somebody that does. So we stepped into that way. So we're supplying the bulls, getting somebody that knows way more about the horses, doing the horse deal, and we feel like we've got a lot of experience with the production side of it. And I don't know. I'm just 40 years old, but I know to kind of get people that know what's going on is sure solves a lot of problems.
So then what's the feeling like having the prospect of getting your bulls back to getting to the NFR? You've been to the PBR finals a few times now with your bulls. Are you excited to have the chance to bring your stock to the NFR now?
Well, I think there is, of course, a goal, but I think the top tier bulls that we have today, it seems like they get plenty of TV time. I mean, I don't know that sounds right. I think the NFR is definitely a goal for all of the stock, and to even take these committees, and getting them encouraged to go to the NFR to see what we're all working towards as well. I mean, I still think it's the best 10 days in rodeo. I mean, I don't think it is the best 10 days in rodeo. So I think it's kind of the carrot at the end of the race, you could say. But I think whether you're in a little town in Oklahoma or in Las Vegas, people can see good competition, good horses buck, good bulls buck. And I think we have to wait 3 years buying a new card. You can't take bucking stock to the finals for the first 3 years if you buy a new card. So the same generation or same group of bulls that we have today will be a whole new set by the time we're going to the NFR, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think that's some goals. You always want to have, bucking bull of the year, or showcase your bulls at the Thomas and Mack or at Arlington, if that's where it goes again. It's an honor that they would pick your stock, and then you could showcase them against the best guys in the country. So yeah, I mean, it's a goal, but I think to go produce great rodeos wherever it may be, I think is where McCoy Rodeo wants to go.
Do you think that given like your success as a competitor has given you a bit of a leg up as a producer and stock contractor?
Yeah, I think everything that I've done my whole career, in a sense, is maybe what I am today. Whether it be, riding at junior rodeos or PRCA rodeos, college rodeos, PBR, college education, or even working in TV and entertainment. I think all of it kind of helps us make the complete package a little bit better. Again, I feel like I've been introduced or know people that are really good at what they do, whether it be TV, entertainment, radio, media, and then on the other hand, to know what a good bucking horse and a good bucking bull look like, and producing a good show. I think all of those aspects that we've lived through for 40 years is kind of what's made us what we are today. And I think it's so much more media driven stuff going on today. Even the little bitty towns that we're looking at doing PRCA rodeos in, when you add TV and you add the World Wide Web and what you can give, even corporate sponsors today, it's a whole new world out there. Even if there's only if there's only 2,000 people in the stands, the people that you can share our way of life with is huge. The exposure that you can get, you guys are proving that right now. How many people we can reach? I mean, if this thing goes online for the next 6 months, there's no how many millions of people are going to watch what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Well, like something like the Cowboy channel is like such a big like door opener for like the smaller scale like contractors and rodeos, like giving access. I know like my dad has the Cowboy channel on constantly at home watching all these different rodeos. That must be a huge advantage for the smaller companies as well.
Oh yeah, I think just like the PBRs, I feel like help push at least that top tier of bull value, and people always talk about the bucking bulls and the semen sales, and like you can always tell what's going to be popular at your next production sale because whatever Justin McBride and Craig Hummer and Ty Murray say about the stock is what's going to bring the most the next sale.
Yeah.
It's definitely a media driven, and I think it's going to affect the same with rodeo. I think the value of those horses and bulls and the rodeo ticket, I think the value is going to go up for what the Cowboy channel and the like do, and however much that we can share, to the rest of the world. I mean, rodeo, I've done it my whole life, or bull riding, PRCA rodeo. I got, a full ride scholarship to ride on the rodeo team. It's just been my whole life, but I'm still a huge rodeo fan. And the more that we can educate and share it with the rest of the world, I think it's a very addictive sport. The next thing you know all the bucking horses' names and their offspring, and the story behind it. And it's such an addictive sport and way of life. And I think the more we can share it with the rest of the world, I think we got a lot of room to grow, even globally. I mean, we sell some of the bucking bulls that they see on TV. We're selling embryos out of their mothers and these crosses. From Canada, Mexico, Australia, sold some semen to Costa Rica the other day.
Oh, wow.
Eating bucking bulls. Talk to people online from Europe all the time. I've got a bull partner from London. I mean, it's crazy what we take for granted. Of like, I live southeast Oklahoma, and there's rodeos going on every week, but we still take for granted what we get to do. And I mean, there's people living vicariously through our way of life still.
So what you're saying is McCoy Rodeo is going to head overseas to Europe and tap
worldwide.
that.
Rodeo worldwide.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, it definitely will not be the Amazing Race overseas anymore. So I don't know. I think we looked into doing was it Buffalo Bill Hickok, I guess, that did the entertainment shows, and where he took those shows around the world. I mean, we just kind of peeked into it, but we were talking about doing a show on RFDT about that. And I mean, the stuff that guy did. We actually went through the museum in Cody, Wyoming, and I would suggest if you're ever there, go to the rodeo, but go to this museum to see, I guess how small rodeo feels and how little exposure that we're giving, where cowboys and Indians and the way of life came from. I mean, the Wild West shows that he was producing, way before us were amazing. I mean, the things that they did. So, I think rodeo going around the world again is, I'm sure people have tried it for several times, but now with media, I think we can give them a better idea of what they're going to see and what they're going to do at the event. Not just surprise them with things they've never seen before.
And there is interest over there. Like I was at Gary LeFew's a few years ago, and there was a guy from Belgium and a guy from like Norway there and Switzerland wanting to learn how to ride bulls, and they had like small time rodeos over there. So I think there definitely is like opportunity over there to bring like a really good product to the people, and they could really buy into it. There's a lot of like allure and like romanticize around like the cowboy lifestyle in Europe, I feel like. Oh yeah, no, I think it is still for us. It's not very romanticized. For other people, for me, I'm like, I really don't think the bull cares if I'm wearing a nice coat or I come out there in my pajamas. As long as I've got a bucket of feed and a bale of hay, he's happy to see me. It don't matter what yeah, exactly.
He doesn't care.
While we're on the rodeo topic here, do you want to talk about your partner on the bucking horse side of things at all? Cord, do you want to talk about that or not yet? I don't know if you want to announce that.
Well, I guess we really haven't announced it all yet, but
that's okay.
Breaking news.
Videos and who he's even supplied other ones for. So we're both kind of turning pro stock contractors at the same time. So
Stay tuned.
It's Joe Wan is the horse guy.
Okay.
You probably know his brother Cooper is a bullfighter.
Okay,
PBR bullfighter. Yeah. So we kind of got hooked up. Nate Morrison, he's another. He does online sales. We've done sales with him quite a bit, and that's how we kind of got hooked up. And then we started kind of shopping together. And then we just kind of fell in and keep been running ever since. So now we're getting on producing our rodeos now.
Oh, awesome. Well, I gotta ask a little bit about the political side of that, because up here there have been a few different fights on the Canadian side of people suing the associations and all that over cards. It's it's kind of a bit of a monopoly that the contractors have, and no offense to anybody that's involved, and I don't want to be too much trouble, but it's kind of a tough business to get into because the folks that are in it don't want to let anybody else in at points, and they're not making it very easy for you to get a card.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing that we kind of have a little bit of another income, I guess you could say, for the first 3 years, because the PRCA, not that it's a good thing or bad thing, but it is difficult to get in or to buy, an existing card, and then the rules that you have to produce and what you have to do. I mean, you pay somebody a lot of money just to fly to your house or drive to your house just to check your stock. I mean, so it's a big deal. I don't know. I'm not talking good about it or bad about it, either one. It's kind of the first process that we've done. But you could tell that there's a strict guideline. If you want to join this group, there's a lot of things that you have to do, monetarily, physically, and and performance based type stuff. So there's a lot of guys, like me. I might have dreamed of it since I was 18, but now I'm 40 years old, just now getting to make the move.
Well, I have to go through the rule book, but I think it's like I don't know what it's in Canada, but I think it's like a $50,000 card or something in the rule book, and that's if you buy it from the association, and you have to jump through all the hoops. Where in the US, I think it's like $250,000. I think it's $250,000 for that card or something crazy. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the card is one price, but to buy a card, you have to have minimum 50 bucking horses and 25 bucking bulls. So, I mean, I think I don't know how long it took Joe, but it took us, 25 years to get this group of bulls that are, all good enough, eligible, etc. So it's a chore. I mean, if a young guy just said, "Hey, man, I just want to be a stock contractor,"
that's what you did
for a while.
And it took 22 years in the meantime, I guess, really, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're excited about it. I mean, for us, it's going to be, it's been our life, and it will continue to be our life. And to think that someday I could, my daughter Tulsa will have the association that she can, she can carry it on or sell it or poop it off or whatever she decides to do with it. But, it's going to take, a long time to build. But we're still excited to be in and be a part of it. And you see the guys at the NFR, flanking these horses to be 90 points. I mean, I guess being a stock contractor and a producer like us, I mean, that's to be standing in that spot someday is a goal.
Do you think some of those rules are a little bit antiquated though on having all the stock? You have to have the stock and you have to bring the rodeos on, or what is the association trying to prove by making you jump through all these different hoops? What is their goal with that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's for a new guy just to prove that you are bringing something to the association, because you have to bring 6 new PRCA rodeos in. Like, there is a reason that we're letting you buy this membership and buy this card to get into this group. Like, you're bringing something to the table. You're bringing something to the PRCA. So, I mean, you kind of understand a little bit of that, but, you can't just really jump in the PRCA and then, underbid the guys that have already been there. I mean, you can't really go for stuff that they're already having rodeos there. It has to be, you have to bring new stuff to the table. So you kind of understand it a little bit, I guess. I'm sure when I'm on the other side after 3 years, I'm like, yeah, I don't let anybody else.
Well, because you like going the other way with the PBR, you can buy a contractor card in the PBR. If you have a bull, you can bring them if they're good enough. It's kind of a completely different system, right?
If you got a 24 point bull with a video of him bucking at the house in your backyard, you can go to the PBR. There's no there's no rule. You might just get to take one bull, but yeah, if you got a bull that good, he can go wherever he wants to.
But that doesn't that promote competition and that promotes the people to put more into it and bring better stock. That side of it too, right? If anybody can go, you have a lot more opportunity for investment. You have all the partners. You have partners in all around the world. Where on the rodeo side of things, you can do that to a point, but I guess it's a totally different game.
But they got to produce the rodeo too, though. Like, they're not producing the PBR events, bringing your bull. You're just bringing your bull.
Essentially, but some of those rodeos, because a lot of the contractors don't produce all the biggest rodeos. Like, you'll get hired to go to Cheyenne, and you're not going to go produce Cheyenne. There will be it's a bit of a different story, Wacey. That's what I'm trying to get at, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of the rodeos. I mean, I say that, and I'm just working on doing my first one. Are committee based, and then they just pay the contractor X amount of dollars to come do it. Like you said, where they have a whole committee for Cheyenne, and I'm sure they have a stock manager that here they're allotted this much money. You pay all the guys to buck your stock. The other end of our deal, when we're having to go find towns that have arenas that don't even have committees. Like, we're having to, drum up who owns it, who we lease it from, and, selling sponsors to it as well. Like, we're doing all of the work.
Yeah.
But the other end, the TV, the PBR really pushes out there. We have people buying into, 6-month-old bucking bull calves for the dream to see their bull on TV in 5 years. I mean, that's a lot of the turnaround base of our, I guess, our business, you could say. But, the PBR or the PRCA is getting a lot more exposure with the Cowboy channel, and then again, the NFR, things like that. I think there's something to put out there to sell them in that sense as well. It might not be at our little bitty local rodeo that we're talking about, unless we bring it to them like we mentioned about going a World Wide Web or, doing some naming on bulls or something like that. That they can kind of get something out of riding along with that.
I want to, is there anything else you want to ask on the? Well, we got to talk about the bull of your dad's. It goes back to everything goes back to Bell's Blue, right? That's where some of the contracting business came from, right? Because your dad's in the bull business too, and that let's talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. When I was 6 years old, my dad gave me my first cow. Like in 1986 was my first cow, and I feel like I've raised bucking bulls ever since then. When I was in high school, like my FFA program was the bucking bull business. I would keep track of all the cows and the calves, and we'll sell. We used to actually sell our bull calves straight off the cows to Dylan and HD Page, or a couple of crops of them.
Oh, cool! Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, that kind of been our practice bulls / income. Several times. My older brother Justin, he was a stock contractor and worked for another guy named Larry Kephart that raised. He bought a bunch of Charlie Plummer's stock, which a lot of the little spotted bulls here in southern Oklahoma, they call them plumbers. So we got to lease a bunch of those original plumber bulls to breed our cows. And a lot of our foundation and basis is into that. Little did I know, after college, we would start kind of training the bulls a little bit more. And then the day that I retired riding bulls, was because the bulls were winning enough to kind of make a living, and I couldn't ride a stick horse. So it was a pretty easy switch. The day I think I was at J.W. Hart's bull riding, and I fell off a little spinner. I was dragging my bag back to the truck, and the guy chased me down and said, "Hey, you want this check?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Your bull won $4,500." And I'm like, "Why in the world am I getting on these things?" It was that easy. I had a good set of classic bulls and a good set of futurity bulls that one particular year, and it made a really easy, sweet retirement.
Huh. Well, so talk about some of the success you've had on the bull side of things now since retiring out of the bull ride. And we'll go back to the bull riding side in a bit, but talk about the current situation in the bulls.
Well, it's been good. It's been a pretty good run. I guess riding solo is probably the most popular bull that we've got going right now. He was actually a 2-year-old world champion, a 4-year-old reserve world champion. At Fort Worth in January, he just crossed $300,000 in lifetime earnings.
Wow!
We're bucking his first set of calves. I got 3 2-year-olds out of riding solo that we're bucking, and I've got all 3 of them entered in Abilene, Texas next weekend. And I think he's just an amazing producer. I think he's really going to start hitting the scene now as what he can do. With the cows. He goes to Fort Worth. He's in the short round again this weekend in Fort Worth. And, man, he never ceases to do amazing. He loves what he does. My father-in-law was partners on this bull. And, this last sale, he decided that he was going to sell his half in the bull. And he sold his half in riding solo for $125,500.
Wow.
So, yeah, at that time, we almost wanted to make an announcement like, "Oh, I think I'm going to sell my half too." But we're sticking in for the long haul. We think he's going to be an amazing producer, and just like Bell's Blue, my dad owned. I feel like affected his ranch for 10 years or longer,
and then more.
Riding solo is also is going to be one of those highlights of the ranch for a long time. Even if we did a little bit of semen sales and his offspring are big success, I think he could affect our ranch for a long time.
Did you ever imagine when you were younger, like when you first started the bucket bull thing, that these amounts of money would be exchanged for like portions of ownership in a bull? Like that's pretty remarkable. Like even from when I was a kid, like you'd never even think of that. Yeah,
it's crazy, and to think the other end of it of. Man, after I quit riding bulls, of like, the check that you get or you could win in Las Vegas, of like, I'll never have this again. And like 2 years later, I win more in 1 year with the bucket bulls than I did my whole career in Vegas, trying to
you just question your whole career at that point.
Yeah, I know. No, it's huge. And I think, I think it's mostly fun for a lot of people that maybe like to gamble a little bit. For guys like me, it's just our profession. We do it every day. We train them the best we can and showcase them who we are. There's others that, I'm emailing guy back and forth about a bull that's going to Fort Worth, and this is the first time his bull's going to be on TV, and like he's so nervous because he's got Haycake Pacheco draw this weekend. I'm like, well, you really don't have to get on the bull, but he's scared and nervous. This calf that he's worked all the way up, finally gets his TV time this weekend. So it's exciting for the customers and the partners and owners, and then to be able to have bulls like Riding Solo that wins $300,000, and it makes everybody, makes some investors money and makes a lot of people money.
What's the training process like in a bull like Riding Solo? Like a lot of people don't know how much time and effort goes into like making these bulls like the top athletes that they are.
Yeah, so Riding Solo just I don't know if a lot of people do roping horses, but like he's a little bit hot in the box, you could say. And I mean that was so we bought him. He was just a long yearling when we got him, and that was his trigger. That was his problem. So like his whole 2-year-old year, we never bucked him at the ranch, but we would actually put him in the chute and get everything ready, like he was like somebody's fixing to nod their head, like the gate was going to open. And then we'd let him sit there for a second, and then we'd take everything off of him and just let him walk out. I mean, just let him know that it was okay. This is a nice place. This was a happy spot, within the bunch. And then that was a work. I think the one time we bucked him at the ranch was a warm-up for the World Finals when he won the World there. But still there, we had like 4 people ready and, a lot of stuff going on to keep that bull calm and ready to get out of there. I think a lot of the training is just giving the bulls the opportunity. I think we've got 4 dummies, like different sizes, those little boxes. They go on their back, and the youngest bulls that we bucked are yearlings. And it's kind of more the process of getting them to come in the buck chute, stand there, put the dummy on them, letting them get a start, feel their feet, and click the button, or the dummy will fall off. And then you kind of start advancing from there. Maybe you adjust your flank a little bit. Maybe you let them go a little bit further. If that bull jumps out there 4 jumps and turns left, I might click the dummy off of him to reward him for the turn. Well, the next time I buck him, he's 2 and turns, and I click it off of him. It's kind of like rewarding a dog for rather than fetching a stick. I mean, like, oh, that fast turn that I did worked really good. So I think they figure out the game really quick of, what they need to do to win. And then they start getting better at it. They start jumping higher. They start spinning faster. And then I think that's when the bulls start falling in love with it. And then they start just doing it for fun. I was videoing Solo in the arena today, and I put him out in the bucking arena, and I have nothing on him. And he's out there jumping and spinning like it's what he does for fun. So it's pretty easy to put him in that situation with a rider on him, and it's like that's what he does for fun too.
So you're saying. What I'm hearing you say is there's some training, so you but you can't really take a dud and train them to really be good, though, can you? Or is there a way to take those ones and really turn them into real good ones?
That's a good question.
I think they got to want to do it. I think people get so confused on that there's something you do to make them buck, and there is nothing you can do to make them buck. If they don't want to buck, they're just beef. So I guess if they knew the alternative, they'd probably buck way better. But what you do is kind of just your sorting gate is deciding what bulls want to do it, the bulls that like to do it, and the bulls that are athletic enough and have the intensity to do it. Now, a lot of the bulls with the breeding programs these days is they have all this energy and all this want to, and it's so crazy. I look at it more like a boxer. When you got a street fighter, he's just wailing just anything he can do to kick your butt and to win. But once he figures it out, he becomes a trained boxer. He's toed up and he knows how to hit those punches, to do a 1, 2, 3 count. And I think that's what a trained bucking bull is. He's not nervous. He's getting in the chute. He's standing there. He's saving the energy, and he's doing what it takes to win that battle, whether that be a wrestler or a boxer or something like that. Crazy is not a challenge for the best guys in the world as bull riders.
I wanted to ask about, sorry. What were we? Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry, Wacey, did you have something there? I had it and then I lost it.
How is so like when it comes to the partnership side of the business? Are people approaching you, or are you like seeking people out to join up with you, or what's that look like?
And how do they get in touch? Where do they find you? Like if somebody's listening and they want to have a bull, that was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually word of mouth, like, hey, you know what, I'm part of this Cord of the Bull, like I would suggest it. But you'd be amazed, like, how many partners that we have that are just returned. Like, they own a 3-year-old, and then the next year they bought another one, and they bought a 2-year-old. And now this April 10th is our next production sale. So they'll show up and they'll buy half interest in a yearling bull. So what we do at the ranch, we'll start with about 80 calves. And we'll go through them and kind of get it narrowed down to what's good enough to be in the sale. And then that top 1%, we just sell half interest in. I say 1%. It's usually between 5 and 10 bulls, depending on how many really good bulls are in there. And we'll sell half interest in the bulls that we want to keep, that we want to invest in, that we want half their winnings for the next, 3, 4, 5 years. The next Riding Solo or Mr. Majestic, like we want them to stay here. We want McCoy Ranch to be on their name and their offspring, their winnings, etc. So we just sell half interest in our best ones, and I think definitely keeps people coming back for more. I have seen other contractors, I think, where they mess up is they'll have 4 bulls and they'll sell half interest in their worst 2 and keep 100% of the best ones. And we don't do that. We kind of just offer them all. And when you see our stock contractor list at the PBR, like every bull has Cord McCoy and either 1 or 3 other names on there of people that they bought in. And there was one that it got so many names on there. I finally told them that they had to like just do letters or something like that, or get a group name. So Big Sky Bulls and Pioneer Bulls and the HR, they're like, it's a group of people. I think Big Sky Bulls is actually 5 women that own that bull. So.
Have you had any Amazing Race fans buy some equity in your bulls or interest, I guess?
You know what? I'm sure all of them had seen the Amazing Race at one time. Yeah. If not, they went back and watched it.
Do we want to go down that route, or do we want to talk some more bull riding first? I got a couple of questions, and then
we go down that road and back. We'll be
okay. So I was doing some research here, and so we can go. I guess we could go all the way back to the very start of it. But the one thing really jumped out at me: Oklahoma City, 2005. Do I need to say anything else?
2005.
Yeah, you were 90. You're the Extreme Bulls.
95.
95 and 93 in the same night, and then you won 3rd or 4th. What the heck?
Well, I think it was a 3-head match, and I think actually my 3rd bull I got a reride on. My 4th bull bucked me off, and Matt Austin beat me that night. So, but still, I think the 95 was my highest mark ride ever. So.
And so what was that? Like that had to be one of the craziest nights of bull riding. Like I went back and looked at the event, and there were like 3 bulls. They marked 48 points. Were they really loading some stuff up and doing that, or
wow?
What was going on?
Yeah, what were those bulls? I guess
Blackberry Wine, War Dance, which we know is a really rank one. Scaredy Cat was 47. Lucky Strike 47. Looked like a heck of a night of bull riding, but why did they? Yeah. Was it a 2-day event
Yeah, Lucky Strike might have been able to get there. I think it was when the Extreme Bulls started up there. I don't know what year it originally started up. I know that was one of the first years that I went to an Extreme Bulls event. So.
Okay, I thought it was crazy. I don't know if I'd seen anybody before to be 188 on two bulls before.
Yeah,
pretty wild.
Yeah. That's one of those, like my 4th bull, you just stay on, even if you got a drag underneath it and you win first.
Day money drag.
Thanks for bringing that up, Ted. Appreciate it.
Well, I hope you at least won a little bit out of there, Cord. Jeez.
No, surely. I think it was Western Hauler might have bucked me off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was the fourth my reride bull.
And then there was
like a little cute plumber.
And then, because Super Cool was there too. Well, yeah, Western Holler, it says, was in the final round. But you got on 3 bulls that night. They marked 46.5, 46, and 45.5. It seems like a lot of some pretty crazy
high bull power there.
Even Matt Austin was 270 on 3. He averaged 90 points a ride that night. I don't know. It stood out. I had to ask you about it. Then
it was 2005. Matt Austin won the world, and as far as like rodeoing up and down the trail, 365 days, and that guy had the hottest year. I mean, I've never rode against Sage Kinsey. I've rode against McBride and Shivers and Adriano, but Matt Austin that year rodeoing was pretty amazing to just to watch him do what he does. He was at least that year he was one of the best I've ever rode against.
He made the finals 3 years, which is, it doesn't seem like long enough because he rode so well. Like he just dominated those couple of years. He won like 300,000 in the season. He won the world by like $100,000, I think. It was nuts.
Yeah. That year there, it seemed like I didn't ride against Adrian in his early years when he rode 10 in a row, but it was that spot on. Like they just could not throw him off. And it's not like he would pick and choose, left or right, or not get on X amount of bulls. Like he just dominated them all.
Talking about some really ranked bulls, what about the World Finals in 2011? You got on a couple pretty ranked ones that week too.
Is that when they had the draft thing? I think that was the draft.
You had
the worst idea ever.
You had
the worst idea.
They marked Bushback like 48 and a half.
Here's what happened. So we go into the World Finals. They take 40 guys, whatever. So they draft the first round, but they go in backwards order. I come in like 35th, whatever that is. And then I think they had just changed it so they paid 4 holes. And they drafted every round and paid 4 holes. And it was kind of like that. I got like 30th pick, and I just picked the rankest bull that I could find. I think I got on every kind of Hot Stuff, Showtime. Like I don't remember like a nice bull that I got on all week. I think on the good round I rode a bull for like 87 points and finished like 21st in the round. I mean,
man.
Yeah, that was a rough year. You're like, where's the show up chicks at? That's all I'm gonna get. Be sure to write my name on my jacket.
What about some highlights on the bull riding side of things? So what stands out for you now on the bull riding side of things now that you're in the contractor side?
Yeah, I think the first time I was 90 points, I was in Canada. I went to St. Pete, Quebec, Canada.
Yeah.
I might have been 17, 18 years old. I don't remember Chaussee or something. I can't remember the guy's name.
Wayne Chaussee?
Wayne Chaussee. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Wayne. And if I could find the video of this, like, it's still like one of the rankest rides I think ever. And not just because St. Pete, they're crazy and really good cheering and a lot of fireworks. Like it was ranked as the bull started bucking in the chute. It was both ways kind of deal. Like it was still one of my best rides ever. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of highlights. I mean, I still have highlights from junior rodeos. I'm like, man, that was it. Right.
But that St. Pete then would have been it was an IPRA rodeo because you started your career in the IPRA side of things.
Yeah, well, you don't even have to be 18 to ride in the IPRA. So I think when I was 15 or 16, I went to the IFR, went to the bucking stock sale, and I'm like, man, I'm going to ride in that bucking stock sale next year. Well, the next year I made the IFR, then they wouldn't let you ride in the bucking stock sale if you made the IFR. So I think I was the youngest cowboy to make to win the all around at the IFR. And I was like 16 or 17 years old. I won a bull riding world title, won a couple of bronc riding world titles, and 2 all around world titles in the IPRA. I think one year I won 111,000 in the IPRA.
Wow!
And you were you even 18?
Yeah, I was then, because even like through college, I did a lot of IPRA rodeos. I think I got out of college fall of 2004, and then I got hurt real bad. And, so, I mean, I really didn't go full-time pro till after that.
Till 05. 05 was the first year.
That 100,000 would have paid for your college.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the wreck in 04 and coming back from that.
I got a haircut there. You probably see my star on there. So I rode a bucking horse. I was at the PRCA rodeo in Oklahoma City. I'd made the short round, so I come back that Sunday afternoon, and the horse kind of bucked across the arena. And this is what they tell me anyway, that the horse reared up in the arena, and I lost the swell, and I come off the back of the horse, and when I was behind him, the horse kicked out, and the end of his hoof caught me in the head and just crushed my skull, just like smashing a Coke can. I was bleeding out of both ears, mouth, and it was a bad deal. So they rushed me to OU Medical Center there in Oklahoma City. They pretty much they scalped me, cut my head open and pulled the skull off my brain. They drilled a nickel-sized hole above my ear just to relieve swelling on my brain. And I think they had me in an induced coma there about 8-9 days.
Wow.
And then even when they woke me up, I went to Pinnacle Rehabilitation Center. I was there for another couple of weeks. Did speech therapy and physical therapy for about another 3 or 4 months.
Wow. Well, and what was it like the road coming back to get to that top level of the PBR? Like a lot of guys don't come back from an injury like that.
It's bad. It's bad. I mean, I think there's a certain line of, I don't know, depression, I guess would be the right. I mean, because especially when you have rode professionally and you feel like you're at this level and the first time I go get on a horse, I can't even stay on. I mean, like, not just that, like you get a lot of, poor me days that you're laying there in bed and it's not cool. And one day you finally just gotta get up and shake it off and say, this is not my story. I mean, this is not how mine's finishing. And even when I started back, it wasn't even so much to win so much. I mean, I know it sounds bad, but it was just to do it again. Little did I know I would still be able to get to some sort of talent, to be able to ride at the finals. After that, I mean, I had to learn to walk and talk again. But man, it was a long road back. I mean, and to say that you ever got to 100%, maybe not, but I do know that I'm very thankful just to be able to do it again. I think there was a lot of things that, you would have done easier or rode easier before that. But hey, it was good to see your name on the list, be doing it. And I just graduated college. I have a girlfriend and a house. I had nothing. I'm like, they're like, I'm not going out like this. It's not like I, had something to lose. If I'm going to die, I want to go out doing something I love doing. And that's what it became. So in 2005, I probably started back. I'm trying to remember. It would have been Guthrie. The PRCA rodeo there was Guthrie. Was my first one back late spring. And by the end of summer, when everybody else was kind of getting broke and beat up and going home, I was just kind of building a little bit of wind. And I had, 50 rodeos left. And I remember those last weeks to make the National Finals rodeo, I'd enter every rodeo on the book. It didn't matter where it's at, when it was. I would enter every one of them, find out where my best bull was, and find a flight to go get on it. Spent every dime I had to make the National Finals rodeo. I mean, it was a dream that, you didn't know it ever come true. When you saw just like a hope of light that, in August you're on the top 50, like, just go. And I had a lot of rodeos left to burn out. And, other than my cell phone bill and entry fees, I didn't have a lot of other expenses going.
Was it a big relief after getting on your first bull after that wreck, like, or going to your first event? Like, was there some some anxiety and something after that?
I scared that. My buddy Cody Whitney, he had a Longhorn bull, number 10. I don't even think he ever had a name, but like he would hop out there and he would turn in about 4 or 5 seconds. He would just stop so you can get off of it. And I was scared to death to get on that bull. I mean, like I was over there an hour before, raising my rope up like the guys scared to death. It was almost something you had to come up with, like, I don't care what happens. I mean, because, option B was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get where you don't worry about, breaking your arm so much. I've already been through this, and the reason I started back is because, it was either all of this or nothing. So it was It was tough. It was a tough time there. Anytime you hear people of, oh, my buddy, he had a head injury, he does something like this, and man, it just scares you because it's a long road back. That's some tough stuff and some a lot of
going back to the fall of 2005 from Albuquerque to Kansas City. Looks like Kansas City was the last one before the NFR. Based on the stats, I'm just looking at Pro Bull stats, and that doesn't always have everything. But you only bucked off like 3 bulls in that whole last stretch. You had quite the run to get to the finals, like you're saying. You went to everything, but hardly bucked off. But then you go to the NFR and get hurt in the 3rd round, and then only get to get on 4 of 10. So you go the whole time thinking you're gonna make it big in Vegas. That had to be tough if you spent all your money to get there, and then didn't have any when you're there.
It was a lifetime goal to make the National Finals Rodeo. So I think just to get on the flag horse and to ride in behind the state of Oklahoma and stand up. I mean, like that was a lifetime goal. I got to ride in there. I was a blueberry. What was that bull that hit me in the shoulder? What's the 3rd round bull?
Wildberry.
My goodness. Yeah. Anyway, so that bull hit me, and I couldn't even lift my arm up, at all. It was separated my shoulder. I think that was kind of the time that I decided I put all of my year into these 10 days. And I think that might have been what made me just to decide to switch over to the PBR. If I'm just going to ride bulls, they've got 32 different weekends that you can work for this much more money. That it's not all in 10 days. I think that was the original reason for moving over. And especially if I wasn't going to go back to riding saddle mall horses or bareback horses, might as well go to PBR.
And then the transition you made 7 straight World Finals in the PBR.
Yeah, some years I was surprised myself. There's nothing better for you bull riding is to get cut, and then they're like, hey, you're not as good as you think you are. So when you get go back down there and work out a little better. And there were some times later in my career that I really did not feel that it was fair for the younger up and coming young riders because I'd kind of already been to the top. I knew what it took. I had some sponsors behind me. I wasn't, in bad money shape. And I would show up to the events and I would be entered 3 times and I just flew in, and it was like this other guy's got, his last $85 entered. I entered 3 times. I'll be here 2 nights. And I was like, man, that's tough. I can't even believe they're letting me do this. So I would have that many more opportunities to get back on tour than the young guy. It's you had to do it. I mean, they let you try it, so you had to do it. Other people maybe don't want to get on 3 bulls. I will say I got on bull of Chad Berger's called Big Guns one time. He was terrible. I mean, he wrecked me out. It was bad. So I was at I think Thief River Falls, and they were up there like, that's turnout. Anybody want to enter twice? I'm like, heck yeah! I said, put me down. Enter me twice. So I entered again. So and I think the entry is like $300, but I entered twice. So I went back there to I think Joey was loading bulls. I said, hey, don't load Big Guns. You don't need to load him. I ain't getting on him anyway. So I switched bulls the same person. I was like, I don't know what the other one is.
That's a veteran move. That's sneaky, attaboy.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's not fair sometimes.
Hey, they let you do it. You may as well.
Oh yeah. I'd probably do it too.
Let's get into the Amazing Race. I'm really intrigued by this and have been for a long time. I think I started reading the stuff of Ted Harbin's when you were on the show. That might have been when I actually ended up meeting Ted, was through what you did on the show. But talk about the start of it, getting on the show, getting, applying for it, or did they come to you, or how did this come about? Did they find you from the PBR?
I got to blame all the start on my brother Jet. He told me I was leaving Cheyenne Frontier Days, and he said, man, I got a great idea. 2-man team, race around the world, pays $1 million. And I'm like, by the time the 30-minute conversation's over with, I was ready to jump off a cliff or eat whatever I had to do to win $1 million. So we get home, we fill out a bio, did like a 20-second video. It's kind of, hi, I'm Cord McCoy. This is my brother Jet. We're gonna win your little $1 million race kind of deal. And sure enough, somebody in LA seen the video and asked if we'd be interested in coming out there and interviewing for it. And little to know, looking back, they had like 22,000 applications come across. Like to get selected was huge. But when we showed up at that hotel in LA, I mean, they pretty much, you get off the plane and they're holding up this sign and it says somebody else's name and they tell you to go get in this car. So it's some freaky stuff. And you go in the backseat of this sedan, they unload you and they got all these radios and they're escorting you to these other places. But then you start seeing all these other teams of two. Like there's two blondes, there's two bodybuilders, there's two bikers, there's two, people wearing really shorts, and like me and Jen, like we don't think we're matching at all because my hat's white and his hat's black. We're like they're not gonna know we're a team here. But it was funny just to see all the other people that were there applying for the race, and then they called us up and said, "You guys are in. Send us your passport and get packed up." And I think we left first time about 15th of November. And I didn't tell them anything about PBR, but I had just went to PBR Finals the week before. So if you don't think those first 3 countries that I ran through, I was the bow-legged cowboy. My groins were still
a little
pretty
stiff.
bad sore from the finals.
No way.
I was hobbling all the way through there.
I found it here. So you go to the World Finals, and did you only get on one bull that year in 2010? Because then you're off until January of 2011. That's when you guys would have filmed? That's the couple months there, right? But it looks like you only got on one bull in 10, or maybe that's records.
Yeah, it'd have been 10. We filmed it in the fall of 10.
Yeah, that was the first season.
Yeah, because it would have aired in spring of 11.
Yeah. So tell us about the race. You go to those. They take your passport and they've got to take it and get all the. They have
all the
visas. Yeah. You've got they have your stuff and they meet you at the airport when you leave or what? Like that's
so like the first leg of the race is pretty much they just line everybody up and say on your mark, set, go, and you run to your backpack which has the packet of all your passports, visas, and then an envelope that you open up. So make your way to Santiago, Chile, and find this temple. And this is where your next clue will be. So, I mean, like you started a dead run, and then there's a whole other list of like ways you have to even get to the airport. I mean, it has to be like public transit, with either a train or subway or something like that. I mean, any way they can do to make you look stupid, like they'll try. You'd be amazed. Like even me and Jet were like, we don't even know where this country's at. But somebody can tell us where this. Like we'd have to go to the airport to find out where the heck we're going. Wherever this town's at, take us there.
Just send us over here. We're gonna go there.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to sound stupid, so you're like, oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah, of course. So, but you guys you don't have your cell phone, like you don't have anything. You guys are you're just living and rolling.
No maps, no cash, nothing. Like everything is like your envelope that you open up, it'll say you have $322 to finish this leg of the race, and that's for your your food, your taxis, anything other than flight. Your camera guy actually has a credit card, so he swaps it for any flight that you want. You never have to ask him, how much for this flight. So it's not like really rodeoing, but it's kind of like
close. No way. So the camera guy. So every team has their own camera guy that travels with them. I guess.
Well, they rotate every leg of the race, but you have a camera guy and a sound guy with you all the time. And you run up to the counter and you're like, I need a ticket. I need 2 tickets for Santiago, Chile. I'm sorry, 4 tickets. So for camera, you have to, ask for them for 2 for me and Jet. But really, if they don't have 4 seats to where your crew can go, you can't go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then they even practice ways that, like, you open the door and both of you jump in and say take off, and they drive 10 feet. You're like, whoa. And you got to get your camera guy back in, your sound guy in there. I mean, all the teams have to do it. It's just,
TV magic.
Ways Yeah.
How much of that was there? Was there like a bunch of training before you left about how you had to handle the camera guys and how you had to deal with them and what they could do?
You figured it out real quick, but the camera guys are kind of producing their own show as you're going. I mean, so they might even be taking notes, or like, you really screwed up here, they're like, that's going to be on the show, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of videoing and like, hey, you can't do that, and they're like, they'll direct you of, you know, this is what you're doing. And they never really, I would say, interrupt the race, but they'll keep you updated on the rules if you can't do something, you know.
Really? Wow.
What was the intensity like in like the seasons when you guys finished like high in the placings? Like, did it get more and more like the competition of it? Like, was it pretty intense towards the end?
Yeah, it seemed like it's intense the whole way because they're always eliminating teams, and you never really feel like you know where anybody else is at. Which they might be one block over, but you never know. Like, you get to the mat and they're like, you are team number 1. And you're like, what? How in the world did we win this? Like, we've been lost all day long, you know. It's strenuous the whole time. The weird thing about the race that we lost by about 8 minutes that cost us $1 million. Like, the last leg of the race seemed like the easiest leg of the whole race. Meaning, we're in San Francisco, we're in America, we can read the signs, we get where we want, you know, we tell them. So it almost like, we got behind the other team and we just like stair-stepped our way to the finish line. Like, there was not that there was not a challenge, but not compared to where we had been, you know, the last 28 days before that.
So for finishing second, you guys you got a couple of the daily like the challenge prizes, but they win $1 million and you guys don't get nothing.
They said, good job, Cowboy. Good job.
No way.
That's rodeoing.
Do you think, was it had to be worth it to go and do it, though? Like, even if you didn't win, it had to be worthwhile, right?
Oh, I'd drop everything and go again tomorrow. Like, it was experience of a lifetime. I mean, the things that you get to see and do, and even the places that even tourists can't go, and like the bottom of wine cellars and scuba diving and boats that that CBS or the Amazing Race production lines up. It's a real vacation of a lifetime. And I think the biggest thing you do get is there about half the countries that you run through, you realize real quick how blessed we are for where we live and what we do. And you hate to be that way. Anybody that even whines about North America, like, there's some bad places out there that people just don't have opportunities. So we're pretty blessed. We're pretty spoiled, actually. So to show back up Homan's house and say, oh, we didn't win $1 million, we're like, well, I got lights and I got hot water, and indoor plumbing, etc.
Oh yeah.
So, did it get easier over the second and third time? Did the process get easy?
We thought so. We thought the second time, like, I mean, it's going to be a breeze. We know everything. No, it's like life. It has just because I lived yesterday, I don't know. I know the challenge today. It has its own challenges, and you still don't know where you're going. I mean, you may be less stressed about it because you're like, well, I was lost 36 times the last time we raced. I'm not surprised to be lost again. There might be some things that you would do better, but it's not that you got all this figured out. It's like I got on practice board last week. I got this. I know how to do it now.
What was the process like then when you're on planes, and are you like, you're sleep deprived and you're hungry and tired, and is it like that, or do they must put you up in nice places everywhere you go? Like, some of it's got to be pretty good, or what's it like?
You'd be amazed. Like, we could not win $1 million, but you'd be amazed on how much of the Amazing Race is geared towards Cowboys. Like, because if you've ever rode in a camper of a Dodge truck that they cut the pipe off of, or we can sleep on a plane or a bus, and there's some people out there that cannot sleep on a plane. And about day 5, when they've either been on a bus or a train or something, and they've got no sleep, it starts showing up on the camera of they haven't had no sleep and they can't eat. They don't have a frappe, lupe, whatever you call them, fruity drinks. You know what I mean?
No way.
So I think, it is rough and they put you in a bad spot, but it's just like the 4th of July, I guess, rodeo, and it just don't hurt there as bad.
But so is it like a month long 4th of July though, or like 2 months long? It's quite a process.
Yeah, it's about 30, usually between 30 and 35 days is what it would take us to get around the world and back.
And you would literally do like a 40,000 kilometer trip. You're going all the way around.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole way.
All the way around the globe. I think that's still to this day like the most confusing thing is the international date line when you change days. And then it starts messing with your mind. It's like, did I just lose a day in life, or did I gain one? That the other, like it still like kind of gets you just a little bit.
Damn.
Like time change, I can do. They start doing a day change when I'm one more day ahead of you. With the sun thing going. So.
So what was some of the wildest stuff that happened on the trip though? Like what was not on the cameras that people might not have seen? It was a decade ago now already, but since your first trip, but like.
The show is a highlight reel. I mean,
yeah,
really. I mean, if you really screw up or you really do good, it makes the show. And so much more of the show is like rodeoing because you got to watch my 8-second ride at Cheyenne, but you didn't see the other 23 hours I was in a truck or in a camper or in a McDonald's eating. So there is a lot of time that you're just sitting there with no cell phone, with no map, looking at each other, talking about people walking by,
No way.
What were some of your favorite places you got to go over the 3 times?
Other than the United States of America, I don't know. There were some really pretty ones and cool ones. Oh shoot, I like Spain. I think this is where we got eliminated last, and man, we got stuck there because. When we got eliminated, we had to stay there like 3 or 4 more days while they went to Brazil, and then we flew back in to the United States. I think the funniest thing, the second time that we did the Amazing Race, the finals, we started in November, and we got eliminated, I think with Switzerland. We got eliminated in Switzerland, then we flew back into Las Vegas for the final, because everybody shows up at the finish line, everybody claps them in. But the one thing, when we flew into Las Vegas, the National Finals Rodeo was going on. And that is the one place that I don't even think we got noticed. I'm like, we're just running through there with cowboy hats. Like, there's like 5,000 cowboy hats. What? You're not special here. And we thought that was the funniest thing. If we wouldn't have already got eliminated, from the race, that'd have been really, really fun.
Run into Vegas during the NFR to win $1 million. That'd have been pretty wild.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah.
Dang.
Was there ever any tension between you and Jet? You guys ever butt heads throughout the process at all?
How many brother fights were there?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
How many?
Yeah, I forgot about that play.
Yeah, luckily, a lot of the stuff we felt like that we had already got it worked out before we got there. Because they're like, "Oh, you and Jet never fought." I'm like, all right, yeah.
That's what you see on TV.
But I think we know each other well enough that I think Jet knows where my line is, and vice versa. And even if it's the slightest eye squint or something, like Jet's tick, just don't do it. So no, we're brothers. Yeah, we don't make a big TV show out of the soap opera. We're fixing to fight, but we've done it.
What do you guys do in all the passing time? Was it just people watching for the most part, or was it oh no, we lost them.
Oh, we lost them.
Phone might have died.
Minutes. Out
of minutes. I bet you the phone died. He just went out pretty quick. That's some interesting shit, eh?
Yeah, man, it's been fun. He's a cool dude.
I'm not sure what else we want to get to. We're kind of almost wrapping up.
I'm ready to wrap.
Okay. And we already had an hour, so I guess I'll just stop the recording here for a second. Pause it. Okay, we're back. So,
yep.
So Amazing Race. What else do we need to mention there? I'm just thinking. Wacey and I were just talking. We're kind of almost wrapped up, but I was kind of thinking about what might be some of the wildest stuff that didn't make the show, or some of your favorite parts about the travel, or it sounds like even what you guys did. Was it mostly people watching when you're on the road like that, when you don't have a phone, you don't have that, you can look at it, you can read newspaper or read a book, but like, what did you guys do? Because
most countries other than United States, Canada, I cannot read the newspaper. I don't know what they're saying. I think me and Jet kind of always were joking about taking mental photos, because you have no camera, no phone, so it's like you're on vacation, but you'll never share it or see it again. So we just like taking mental photos of where we got to go. But I think just the places that you get to see, you wish you got to spend more time there to kind of take it in. But there's a lot of places that you couldn't run out of there fast enough to get out of town.
Dang. So what's your like favorite mental picture from these trips then? What one stands out the most that you remember the best?
I don't know. I guess you like the mountains. I think the big cities, and China and stuff like that. I don't know how they can get so many people in such a small spot. And then on the other end of like to see how many people, doing the same jobs that we do. It's just they have a whole different style of tools, transportation, conversation, everything, and not that, we're ahead or behind, but it's a different way of life, wherever you go.
How many other cowboys did you meet out there? I don't remember the show now. It's so far back, but like you had to meet some other cowboys on the road in Argentina or Chile or Brazil.
Oh yeah. No, South America was cool because like a lot of most of the challenges matched to what the country did, or what was their income or way of life that particular spot. So when we were in South America, a lot of it was, like farming and, collecting eggs or doing whatever, with cattle. And I don't even know what they do with the llamas, but there was more like the llama challenge and stuff like that. And that's what people are like, oh man, you guys are really good because y'all know something about llamas. I'm like, I know nothing about llamas. Whatever. And I can gather eggs. I don't think you got to be an expert to gather eggs, but yeah, there was one. There was a roping challenge one time that my brother Jet he missed one time, and like CBS showed it showed it like 18 times. Everybody else like missing for 4 hours. My brother missed one time. They're like, Cowboys missed, So it was that was funny.
Live that down.
Yeah. So somebody just sent me a message the other day. They're just watching like I think 18, and they of course they screenshot of me in a kangaroo suit in Australia or something. I think, and people always talk about like, embarrassed to be on TV or speaking in front of people. And I remember one week we were in China chasing frogs, and we had like one of those Chinese diapers on. Like that was our outfit that you wore, in this challenge. Well, sumo diapers. So we're like running across the country in sumo diapers. I'm like, I guess there's nothing to worry about anymore. You doesn't show your butt,
Holy.
Do you think that experience is like kind of helped with like your rodeo company in a sense? Like it's kind of opened you up to like what's out there and kind of the opportunities that kind of are there for rodeo and the people that like different audiences we can reach with it?
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, I guess I'm in love with the cowboy way of life, and I think we have so much to share. I think, cowboys, the way of life is the funnest thing that I've been involved in. And to sit here today and say, yeah, I've been all the way around the world and I've tried a lot of different things, but like we still have the coolest way of life in the world. Not only is most of us just feeding the rest of the world, with livestock or crops or corn, whatever that you're raising, and all of that, but then you turn right around, like we have this entertainment value to show our way of life. And like, we got some pretty cool stuff to share. Just like you're saying, what's normal to us to be able to share with the rest of the people. If they think the Amazing Race is fun, they should come to the ranch for a while or go watch a rodeo. I mean, like this is real, raw, good fun.
The race and the different languages, what was it? How challenging was it being in China and Japan? Wacey and I were talking on our last show, and I was saying he's traveled. He hasn't been into Asia yet, and I haven't been to Europe, but like Southeast Asia and in China and Malaysia. You guys were in Kuala Lumpur at one point, but in Thailand, like it's not super easy to catch somebody that'll talk to you.
Yeah, try to find somebody that that looks like they can speak English, and then well, in Oklahoma, like we talk with our hands anyways, so like we're doing every kind of sign that we can do to try to get across to them. Of like we're looking for a, you're doing all that. Yeah, no, you got it. And then you're drawing pictures. But the funny thing is now like you know what you're trying to tell the people, and then you watch the show of what they said, back in Chinese or Thai or whatever, like how far off we were. So like, no wonder we had to run all the way around the country 3 times because we were looking for something that was a couple of kilometers. They're like, yeah, it's 100 kilometers that way. So then you're just the language barrier is probably the toughest thing of the whole race. I mean, because if they could tell you just exactly where to go and this is exactly what you do, the race would be pretty easy.
And you don't have a map. Yeah, you don't have a map. You don't have a phone. You don't have you just have to literally talk to somebody, write it down, whatever you can understand. You can't read anything. And when you're in these other foreign countries, the signs aren't in English. You got to figure out and interpret on their languages. Like it's really challenging.
Yeah. When we're actually going, when you're going to the airport and they tell you you're flying to this other country, I mean, you'll go through their bookstore and start trying to find, books or maps that might help you in the new city that you're going to kind of familiarize yourself with, hey, this is kind of where we're coming into. This is where you're going from here. But then, the Amazing Race will throw a big curveball in there. Like, you go an hour out of town, then whatever you had researched or got before is no good anymore.
Dang.
But you're buying, stealing maps all the time.
Jeez.
Not stealing, borrowing them. You take them back.
Yeah. Holy. I'm just so intrigued by all that. It seems like such a fun trip and like such an experience that it's incomparable.
Yeah, it was so crazy. I think the first time that we went on the race, like I still thought it was a joke. Like when we're fixing to take off, I'm like, I keep waiting for somebody to come out from behind the, dumpster. Like, oh, we got you. You think you're going around the world, because you're like, are you sure they've got our passports? Are you sure this is what's happening? It really? Just, yeah. I still don't have TV, yeah. But I've watched, the pranksters are, like they done got us.
So they had your, like, where do you guys, it's so far back, I don't remember now, but where did you guys start? Like they had your passports for a couple months and you had to fly to LA and start, or like, where did you guys begin to race?
Yeah, I think we started in LA twice. I remember where the third time we started. We might have started in LA all 3 times. Yeah, I think we started in LA, but one time they would take us to, a park, and the next thing they would take us to a big old wind turbine. And I'm sure Ford was some sponsor of it. We'd have to drive with a Ford Focus to the airport or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it was L.A. every time. I think we finished one time in San Francisco, one time in Florida, and then the other
was Vegas.
Vegas, yeah. Well, we didn't finish the race, but we flew into Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. After you were home for a while, or were you said you're Spain right to Vegas, or what was it?
Yeah, I think there was one more leg of the race. They might have went to Brazil or something after that, but we went straight from Spain to Vegas.
So, and this is,
I think, the funny thing is, so we flew in like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Guess the one cowboy that I saw out at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, JB.
Bronc Rider.
Oh, Bronc Rider. Wade Sundell.
Wade Sundell. We're good, I think. Yeah.
Where'd they put you guys up then at during the NFR?
They're still like, they're hiding you everywhere you go. I mean, it's still like a secret. But we flew into the international part, and we went, I forget what casino that put us up there. Wherever they were, one of the challenges, like final challenge.
Treasure Island.
Yeah, they had changed the bulbs.
Yeah,
changed the bulbs in something. So that's where they just put you in a room and send you a room service and keep you locked up in there. I mean,
oh, no way.
They don't want to give the race away. They think if people find that you're out, or because there's always people like typing online of oh, we seen this and we seen that, and they would even send us like teams of 2 as decoys. That you're already out of the race, but we want you running out of the airport to go to this because people are going to see you and think you're still in the race or something. It's
really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're not, like, you're contracted with them for the whole 35 days. That's the deal.
Yeah,
Deal.
You're working for the man. Yeah.
And you don't get to go home? Like, do you at least get to talk to your family? Like
They would call our wives once a week and tell them that we were good. But I mean, like they would find out. Like my mom, she could find out more online. Like, oh, there's pictures of you showed up in China. Somebody had seen this. That they would, tag the Amazing Race or something. Like, so like you could, if you really search it, I mean, you can find where a lot of people are at, and where they're going, and what they're doing.
Oh wow, geez,
it's that popular. You go to, especially like Australia and China. A lot of people that big airports. They catch it. I mean, there's two people. There's two cowboys running with backpacks.
Yeah. Holy. Well, I guess is there anything else you want to add on that? I feel like there might be more, but I'm not sure what else to ask right now. I'm real. I just like it. I think it's such a neat deal. I want
to. There's more. It seemed like there's so much that Jen and I wrote down in our little notepads, kind of like we always thought at the end of the race. One of the challenges was, they wanted to ask you about, where all you'd been through and what. So we tried to keep notes of everywhere we went. I think one time we saw one of the races before us, the guy had spent all his money before he got to the last leg of the race and couldn't afford a taxi to the finish line to win the $1 million. So that was one of our biggest fears. So me and Jet, like, I'm serious. We joked this the one time that we would actually split sneakers for a meal. Like we would save that much money. And when we got to the end of the race, we'd have $400 or $500. That's all we got. We got paid for the whole 30 days. We just kept it.
No way. Where'd you guys eat along the way? Like, did you just hit every McDonald's that you could along the way that you saw, or like did you?
Yeah. The first time that we raced, we really did pack a lot of clothes, and the second time we packed a lot of food. Like I'm pretty sure. Is it a second race or third race? My brother Jet wore the exact same pair of pants all the way around the world. Like you can't smell him on TV. Yeah.
Oh man.
And like, we'd throw clothes away. I was so glad I got Harriet as a sponsor, because about every third day I'd lighten up my load. I'd throw away whatever I was wearing and wash some socks in the sink again and keep on rolling.
So, like, would you guys have enough? Would you even have enough time to do laundry once in a while, or it's not that you don't have that time, or do you? Or
so what they do, like each leg of the race, like you kind of live on the road during that leg of the race, but when that leg of the race is over, like you check in, and they pretty much will give you a meal and give you a place to sleep. So that's usually in a hotel. Anytime between legs of the race, they'll put you up. You can go in and sleep, wash clothes, or shave, whatever you need to do. It's those long legs of the race that last like 3 days that other teams would partner up and, split a hotel room. And we're so tight. We just sleep on the streets. We were bummed.
Wow.
Was there any time you felt unsafe when you're out there though, or threatened while you were?
I think there's some sketchy places out there. The good thing about it is, most of it you're just running through. I mean, like if you're going to get robbed, they don't really have time to sit around and plan it. But they do have 3 security guards that go with the Amazing Race. There's usually one in front, kind of leading the way of like, this is the town you're kind of going into. There's one that kind of floats around in the middle, and then one on the back. And they are like big, stout Navy SEALs, Green Beret, like, the people you'd want on your team if something did break out. And they would have a meeting before the Amazing Race started that they're here for your safety, yada, whatever. And if you get kidnapped and we break into the room, go to the floor because everybody else is getting shot. And you're like,
holy
oh,
crap.
Goodness, Yeah.
Jeez.
So, I mean, they're kind of preparing for that. And then they have these world phones, I guess, that no matter where you're at in the world, they can reach a satellite and call in a helicopter or whatever that you may need. So
no way. So did anything get kind of hairy like that ever, or not? Like never? Nothing ever happened.
Not so bad. I mean, we're kind of at a different way of life. I'm sure for other people, like it looked like it was getting really hectic, but Man, when most of our best friends like go to the bar to get in a scuffle just for kicks, I mean, like it's not group. I always tell people like Cowboys are the funnest people like in the world, especially little bull riders, because they just faced an 1,800-pound wild animal, tied to it with rosin, and then then they're big and tough. And they go to the dance hall after. So they're not scared of the 220-pound bouncer, even though he's twice his size because the battle he'd already been in earlier in the night. Like he's not scared, but he doesn't. They're the funnest people in the world to hang out with.
I gotta agree. We've there's been lots of fun times. There's like you could just talk about one season in the PBR being similar to the Amazing Race. There's probably just as much fun shit and wild stuff going on one year.
A weekend at a PBR event.
Yeah. And then there's groups of them. I remember like, because JB Moody and Brian Canner and Casey Hayes, like, and they're all like little skinny parts, but
yeah, man,
they're like little baby roosters, and you get them all on the same team. They're funny to watch.
That sounds like something that might have happened at the Canadian finals one year. I remember those guys were having quite the large time. I think they took a cab from the Ranchmans to the bull riding one day because they were partying. They were having quite the time.
Oh, yeah. I've kept a couple of them out of jail a couple times.
Oh, Lee. Well, we better wrap it up here. It's getting pretty late over there. Wacey, you got one more question. I guess better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the question we ask all our guests. What is your definition of cowboy shit?
Definition of cowboy. Oh man, I tell you what. I guess you got to go back into is it Chris Ledoux that ain't the hat and ain't the boots? Who was it that said that?
That's Chris Ledoux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the PBR kind of went into this be cowboy idea. And I think there is a mindset. Even when I think when we went to Calgary for the Calgary Stampede, and we got to be parade marshals up there. There was a book that Dr. Can't remember it.
Is it Temple Grandin or is it somebody else?
No, there was a book. It's like the rules of the cowboy, like the cowboy way of life. Okay. I think it's like this has kind of been popular for 10 years, and the idea of what this cowboy is, or what is that pioneered the North America. I mean, I don't know exactly what the one word of that is. If you're looking at livestock or people or business, like that cowboy way of life is only getting back what you put into it, and I don't know if it's a living by your word, but it entails a lot of stuff. And just to say that, if you got a hat, you're cowboy. I wouldn't consider that. I mean, I think there has been people that I've seen wearing cowboy hats that I wasn't proud to call them cowboy. And then on the other end of that I've seen people, in skater shorts do things that would live up to any cowboy attitude, mindset that there is. So, yeah, I think it's a way of life. I mean, really, it's not. What is it? It's hard to earn, pretty easy to lose too.
That's a pretty common theme, though. It's a way of life. That's kind of an essence or a mantra. It's not as much a. It's not
appearance.
As much. It's not really a physical attribute. If you're a cowboy, it's more of a mental or a presence almost.
Yeah, and even when you talk about. If five guys saddle their horse and go across there, nobody's, checking their bankroll of like, oh, this guy's rich, this guy's poor, this guy does, one thing or another. You go through 5 gates and each guy gets 1 gate, and it's just like they pull their weight. It's it's not a one thing, it's kind of living for the people kind of. Bigger things than self.
Yeah,
bigger things than self.
There's two things I forgot to ask about. So the one was the parade marshal you just mentioned. We got to talk about that experience, and then I talked to Ted Harbin before we did the show. I know you guys go way back. He said we have to ask you about how you met Sarah, and then you proposed like before you went on the world tour, right? Like
So the three amazing races that I did, the first time I asked Sarah to marry me before I left, because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen on this thing. I'm going to freaking I don't know where. I wanted to ask you to marry me. So
and you left like 2 weeks later, or what?
Yeah, I was on Flint Rasmussen's, Outside the Barrel show, and me and Flint had already been arranging this for like weeks. And I think if I wouldn't have already had it all lined out, I probably would have backed out. I was nervous. I had a big old ring tucked in my boot for a week, and anyways, so then we get up there, and Flint does the whole interview, and he's like, you see anybody these days? You get a girlfriend? I was like, yeah. My girlfriend Sarah, she's right there in the second row. Her sister Jody brought her to the show and made sure that she was there. And said, come up here. Let's get a girlfriend's perspective kind of deal. And it wasn't 2 minutes. He's like, well, Cord, you got anything you want to ask Sarah about or talk to her about? And then,
there you go. So
yeah. The second time that we did the race, CBS called and asked if we'd be interested in racing again. We're like, heck yeah, for sure. They said, we're going to be leaving 1st of November. And I said, I can't. I said, I'm getting married November 13th. This girl's been, scheduling this wedding for a year and a half or probably her whole life, whatever. I said, I can't do it, but I appreciate it. Well, they called us back about a week later and said, if we left November 14th, would you go? So I said, I got to make one phone call and I'll call you right back. So
yeah.
So I actually went on the honeymoon with my brother Jet around the world.
Oh man. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
So but then you guys met. The story about when you and Sarah met is a fun one too.
Yeah. So I rode at Tulsa at the PBR up there, and went to a little get together after the deal. Is that what they call them these days? I don't know. Anyways, I think they call it an after party, but they went to this little get together, and this little blonde-headed girl walked up and said, hey, I guess she'd come to the bull riding on Friday, and she'd called home and told her dad about it. Well, she said her dad told her, hey, if you see this little redheaded bull rider, tell him to tell his dad I said hello. So that was kind of her side of it. And then Saturday came around, this little cute blonde-headed girl walked up and said, hey, my dad told me to tell your dad hello. And I was like, well, who are you? That was the joke at the wedding, after at the reception. I was like, oh, Dad, I forgot to tell you, Steve told me to tell you hello.
Nice.
I never told that.
Holy.
That's awesome.
And okay, so Calgary, then we'll let you go. The Stampede and being the parade marshal, that must have been a fun time too.
Yeah, so I think at the time the theme of the Calgary Stampede was Be Cowboy, and me and my brother Jed had just done the amazing race, and Dr. Calick, does that sound right? Shallak? Anyways,
yeah, that's right.
He was the chairman, I guess, of the Calgary Stampede for a while. So he called us and asked if we would do it. And we're like, heck yeah, that we looked at all the princes and lords and all these famous people that had been the parade marshal of the Calgary Stampede. So just to be added to that list was like not even expected. Well, the funny thing was, I think they just had the Olympics or something like that. Well, they had all these famous Canadian hockey players, Olympians. a lot of stuff on social media is like, we thought they were going to start like throwing tomatoes at us when we got to Canada. Like, we were not feeling very welcome, But I guess like most of the rest of the world, it's a lot of like online chatter. But when he got there, everybody was really cool about it. A lot of people clapping and cheering and waving. But that was probably one of the biggest honors. Shoot, that was pretty cool. That's the biggest parade I've ever seen in my life too.
Well, hopefully we get to have it again here soon. That'd be great.
Yeah, no doubt.
We look forward to getting to catch up with you again soon too, Cord. Thanks for this. It's been a long time, but thanks for doing it. Thanks for your time tonight. We went way over time, but this was a lot of fun.
It was great. Yeah.
Good to see you.
just right. I like talking about Cowboy stuff. So,
yeah. Well, sounds awesome. Okay, well, thanks again for doing this. We'll catch up again soon. Appreciate it a lot.
You guys get to Lane, Oklahoma sometime. Whoop her in.
Sounds like a deal. Sounds
nice meeting you, Cord. Take care.
You too. You be careful.
Again, thanks to our guest, Cord McCoy, for being part of episode 86. This is Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. Thank you.
What a cool guy, hey?
Yeah. I had a really fun chat. That was a really fun chat with Cord. Thanks for being a part of it, Wace, again, and being part of the interview there. And had lots of great questions.
Yeah, he was. Man, it was cool. It's cool to hear like from a guy like from his like scenario, because like without the Amazing Race, like the likelihood of him doing like the traveling around the world that he's done is probably like very unlikely for him, right?
And even more so for his brother Jet.
Yeah. So I mean,
as we found out.
Exactly. So I mean, it's cool that someone from like our world has had a chance to get like some really worldly experience that not many people had access to or would even be bothered to explore, you know, like in our world, because it's just not something that's ever like, oh, I need to be doing this, you know, like there's just so much other stuff that's on the go, which is fair. Like it's not saying it's a bad thing or anything, but it's not very likely for a lot of people in our walk of life, I would say.
Yeah, I would. I mean, some of our crew definitely are big travelers.
For sure, but I mean, like we travel a different aspect than people like all across like North America and Western Canada and whatever and Canada. But like when it comes to like worldly traveling, like the majority of the people in our walk of life just don't, because they can, you know, I mean, they have commitments to like they try to take care of their farm and ranch or whatever, or they want a rodeo. Like
animals,
that's totally cool. But it's just cool to have somebody, especially like someone who competed at that caliber, like the top end of the of the sport, and then went and did that and like kind of brought a spotlight onto our walk of life, and then also got some really cool experience on his end that he maybe would never have got. And
then push back the start of the recording of the show because of the PBR finals. That was pretty nice.
That's really cool. Yeah. What was it? Because it was his wedding that pushed it back.
Oh, and the PBR finals, I think. I think one year it was PBR finals and the next year was his wedding, and he's like, I can't go till after I get married. And the next one was the World Finals, and they literally, I think it was after he got married, you're right, where he left the day after the wedding.
Had his honeymoon as on the Amazing Race,
with his brother. Yeah.
It's cool to see that and that just shows like what kind of guy he is as well. Like they want to have him on that bad, and like they want to flex the schedule for him. So that was really fun. It was really fun to talk to him.
Too bad they didn't win though. It'd been a bit of a game changer for those guys to win $1 million. But I would hope that he utilized, or I shouldn't say that. I hope that he utilized. I hope that there was enough benefit of being on the show that it paid off in other ways. I'm sure it
did. Yeah.
And I think for a guy like him, it probably was worthwhile. Probably a question we could have asked. And I wish I had a bunch more questions this time. I was disappointed I didn't get to ask everything. We had a big show and still.
It was long. Yeah, it was a big interview. It's funny. It's one of those things where that's the type of conversation where you could have. Well, you could even have like two separate shows, like one just based around his career with rodeo, and then one based around his experiences with the Amazing Race, right? Like, it's cool to talk to somebody of that who has that much experience on both ends of the spectrum. So,
another thing coming up, Wace, that I forgot to mention was the new merch. We've got the new merch.
Oh yeah, spring drop
Thursday. Yeah, we're dropping it online.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so you're gonna be hearing the show on Wednesday, and stay tuned. Cowboyshit.ca. Thursday, March 11th. Basically 1 year into the old pandemic here.
Oh, and man. Literally like 1 year, because that was my club event was on the 11th last year.
When the
NBA and the next day that was when everything shut down. Wow.
But the NBA shut down on the 11th, so we can technically say 1 year. Which
to start.
I didn't really plan on that. I just kind of realized that just right now, but we decided we want to do it on the 7th. The new stuff is already in a number of stores, and we're going to release everything online on the 11th. So stay tuned. Check out some new merch. Wacey and I, as you can see, we've been wearing some of the new stuff. This is the Wood Mountain, the
oldest rodeo in Canada.
The blue embroidery on the gray wool hat. We're gonna have a limited number of these. We only have a few in stock right now, but they're actually getting discontinued, so they won't be around for a long time.
Oh, hot limited item. I have a fun fact about the Wood Mountain Rodeo.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Did you know that the grandstand for the overhang of it, they cut off the branches of the poplar trees in the park to cover it up every year instead of using actual wood?
That's neat.
I don't know if that's a fun fact, but it's just kind of neat that they do that.
Yeah,
And another fun fact.
So
we used to have the Anderson family reunion in Wood Mountain because like all my family's down from that part of the world.
Yes.
And one year we had a pig scramble for all the kids in the big rodeo arena. And one of the pigs ended up escaping.
Became
from
supper.
I know, and like just ran wild within the Wood Mountain
and he was
Park
gone
for years. And like, but he stayed alive. There were sightings of this pig because like he had very like blatant markings and stuff. And like,
Anderson family pig missing for years.
Missing for years, and just went wild, went rogue on us.
Of Wood Mountain. That's
a great mystery.
Pretty good.
It's good,
and that's
community.
why.
Shout out to Wood Mountain.
And that, folks, is why you have chicken wire on some of the rodeo arena fences all around
exclusively for the pig scramble.
And Ricky Ticky's chickens.
The colorful chickens.
Speaking of Ricky Ticky, we got to give a shout out to Colby Wanchuk winning San Antonio. Not a big deal.
That's
about
nice.
13,000. Give him a chance to get to his first NFR. So got to show a little.
And Kyle Lucas, number one in the world too in the title roping. That's huge, cool. Man.
I mean, it's only March, but like
still an accomplishment.
Give him something.
Usually though, you would say at this point of the season that type of winter run is a good indicator whether you're going to make the NFR or not.
Yeah, I give it more now than I do in December, right? Like in December when the season hasn't really started, that's not worth as much. But now, we're March 1st. We're
you're usually through the big winter rodeos by now, right?
There's
like
no
Fort Worth, Denver, all of them are all over, right?
Hopefully we have the bigger rodeos in Cheyenne. Calgary counts this year, which is hometown rodeo for Kyle just about. So huge for Kyle Lucas to be number one in the world. Hopefully we have a lot of Canadians going back to the NFR, even if it was a super spreader event last year. Sometimes that stuff happens in the middle of a pandemic. But hopefully get a lot of Canadians making the finals once again. Didn't quite have the best showing last year with the whole crew, but still great to have a lot of people there. Going back to the merch, though, Wacey, you're wearing one of the hats. We've got a couple versions of the Happy Valley coming out. That's the gold on the golf hat. We've got a couple more. Got a Saskatchewan version coming in the way soon. Happy Valley, former name of Valley Ridge Golf Course, which we're both golfing at this year. So had to throw a little.
Not a big deal.
Throw a little stuff that way. We got the Step In, the maroon hoodie, the Space Cowboy. It's a gold sweater. We got a classic gray one. We've got a few more hats that we're working on, so check it out. Got some golf balls back in stock. We've got lanyards now. We've got some coffee mugs. We've got
it
all sorts of cool shit. So
if we don't have it, you don't need it.
Cowboyshit.ca. Get your new merch. Last thing we want to talk about, the American Rodeo. No Canadians win $1 million. Scott Ginthner, Tanner Milan have a chance in the 8th round. Don't make it back to the Final Four. Zeke Thurston out of the money in the bronc ride and the only Canadian to make it into the 4 round. Shane Hanchey wins $100,000. Tilden Hooper, a couple winners. Colton Fritz on that guy. Yeah.
Man, you're at the good, that fella.
Yeah. Yeah. So another good, successful American.
And he got it done twice, right? Like he run the 8 round and was only going to sit on and then won the 4 round again. So good for him, man. That's sweet.
Kind of.
I saw your tweet because that's good. That's a good point what you make with like if he's the only guy to stay on the 8, like he technically should be the winner because he got the job done.
Yeah,
right?
In that round, right? And then he wins it again. So kind of a
that's a statement by him for sure.
Almost,
you know, like
had a very good week.
Nice. Yeah, it's sweet. It's sweet and it's cool that they're able to have the American. Like given everything, and I guess Texas is wide open at this point, but it's cool that they're still able to have an event of that scale for everybody and still be able to pay out the same amount of money, right? Like.
Oh yeah,
that's huge for
100%
for our competitors and stuff. So, hats off to the American Rodeo.
Yeah, and speaking of the American, our next guest, the creator of the American, Randy Bernard, on the next show, episode 87, coming out. I guess it'll be March 24th with Randy, 87th episode of.
And he's the tour manager for Garth Brooks, right? Now do I have his role properly? Yeah, so that's cool.
Garth Brooks, gonna be a heck of a show. It's gonna
be pretty deadly. Randy Bernard. And he was the CEO of PBR for a while too, was he not?
Yeah, 15 years actually.
15 years. So he's kind of the guy that got to see the PBR off the ground where it is now.
Absolutely. We'll talk to him about a ton of that stuff. We're recording it actually the day that this show comes out. But question, I guess something we'll have to ask him. But this year, none of the $1 million qualifiers ended up winning the side pot, the $1 million. At one point, I thought that $1 million was split up into the winners $100,000. where
they'll roll it over to the next season.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to ask him about that, because at one point, if you won $100,000 and none of the qualifiers won, then it would get split up to first prize, to where you'd win a bunch more. So to where it'd be $200,000 day, where they're paying the top 4 now. It's 100,000, 25,000, 15, and 5. So Zeke Thurston makes the final 4, ends up with $15,000 out of the American. A nice little check. But I'm curious. I got to go back and look and find some more info. But Scott Ginther has a huge week, wins the semifinals, and doesn't get that 4 round. I don't know what he makes out of there with the semifinals. At times definitely pay some big money, but some interesting stuff there. The American in its
and it was another great showing by the Calgary Stampede horses.
Huge
once again. Yeah, I never actually watched the event, but looking on Twitter and social media, it looked like the Stampede horses brought their stuff again.
They brought it.
They seem to like that arena in Arlington.
They've done a little bit of work there. Hey,
yeah,
definitely done a bit of work there. Anyways, we'll wrap it up for the show this week. Again, get your new Cowboy Shit merch, cowboyshit.ca, this Thursday, March 11th. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Cord McCoy. Thanks to our editor, Sean Morton, my co-host, Wacey Anderson. I'm Ted Stovin. Wishing you the best this week. Thanks again for listening to Cowboy Shit. We'll catch you guys next time. Appreciate it.